Coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, and all across the world, psychic, medium, and energetic healer Sheena brings you messages from Spirit, only on the Intuitive Network.
Hi, I'm Sheena, and welcome to Messages from Spirit on the Intuitive Network. A little bit about me. I'm a psychic medium and an energetic healer, and every day I receive messages from Spirit. So each week on this show, I talk to real people. We have real conversations. I provide real messages from the universe and work to get some real healing for folks in need. And it all happens right here, only on the Intuitive Network. Today, I want to talk a little bit about accountability. Some things that I witnessed over my 4th of July weekend, being with family and friends and people I love. I always people watch when I'm in a group, and I noticed that there are just some folks that don't get the idea of being accountable, of taking accountability for your actions. You know, people that you're in a crowd and you think, did that just come out your mouth? Was that your out loud voice? Do you realize that you just said that? I think it's so important in our world now that we are talking all the time, not just in our real lives, but also all over social media. It's so important now that we remember that we have to be accountable for what we say and for what we do. And it's easy to be accountable for what you say and for what you do. But you have to get into the habit of doing so. You know, if many times in my life, I mean, I'm an Aries and I'm very ADD, so I'm very messages come into my head from Spirit, and they fly out my mouth. I have learned in my life and over time that I don't need to say everything I think, because you have to think about sometimes before you say something or before you act a certain way. How is that going to fall onto the ears and the mind and the heart and the soul of the people that you are speaking to? How is that going to be? What's the ripple effect going to be of what you say or what you do? And I think it's so important that we think about that, because we know we're on this life path and this spirit path. It's our journey, right? And we're walking that path by ourselves. So I think sometimes that can also make us too myopic, like we're wearing our me cam and we're broadcasting out and just thinking about how things affect us when we say something. But we're all in this together, and we're one human family. And what you do affects everybody around you. That affects everybody around them. And it grows and grows and grows until it's all across the earth. So it's super important that you just have some accountability. Think about what you're saying, and think about what you're doing, and think about how that's going to make others feel, and what kind of spiritual and emotional imprint you're putting into the world because of that, and how that's going to come back and make you feel. And then maybe look before you leap, think before you talk, and be mindful of what you're saying and how you're being and how you're acting. Just an observation from something I noticed over the holiday weekend when people were socializing again. Since COVID, it's been a little hard to socialize. We're all getting our people skills back. And also, people drinking, so sometimes not making the best decisions. Yeah, be mindful of what you do and what you say and how you act. It's so important. And then take accountability for what you've said and what you've done. And if it turns out it wasn't a great decision, apologize, walk it back, and make up for it. You can't fix the past, but you can fix everything else starting right now. And you can walk things back. Just something I've been thinking about. And I'm sure that's going to fall into some of the messages we received today, because when Spirit's like rapping on my head, come on, this is what we're going to talk about today. usually it winds up being a thread throughout. So I'm here all this hour and I'm giving you messages from spirit. So who wants a message from spirit? Let's do one right now. Hi.
Hey, Sheena.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Who are you and where are you coming in from?
I am Jen, coming in from Suffolk, Virginia.
Beautiful. And what's your question for me today, sweetie?
My question is, are there things that I'm not hearing from my guides? Because I keep feeling these ringing in my ears and I try to stop and listen and it feels like there's just something that I'm missing from them. And I'm dragging my brain trying to figure out, is it something I'm supposed to be helping somebody with? Is it something I'm missing from me? And I can't figure it out.
Okay, so yes, ringing in your ears can be a message from spirit guides. When I say spirit, I mean God, energy, higher power, universe, whatever you want to call it. It can also be a message from angelics. It can be, but it definitely is a way that spirits, like I said, rap it on the forehead, trying to get your attention. Your guides, it's funny because I think that people believe that your guides are here to give you every single message 24/7. They're always talking. You're always getting messages. It's not always true. Your guides are like, they're like caseworkers in the social work system. They're assigned to you at birth and they're there to guide you if you need help and things start to go wrong. If you don't need any help, if things are going well and you're on your path and everything's clicking and popping along, guides don't necessarily come in and just give you messages or, hey, how are you? What's going on? And I think that's exactly, Jen, what the message is. The message is you don't have to try too hard with your guides and you don't have to be disappointed. When there's the ringing, they're letting you know, hi, we're here. And sometimes they're just letting you know, hi, we're here. Just to let you know, because you worry sometimes if you don't hear from them they've disappeared or they've abandoned you or, oh my God, they went away. But here's the thing, they don't disappear and they're not allowed to abandon you because they're assigned to you from birth to death. So they were even on your team before you were born and they're not going anywhere. So you never need to worry that they have abandoned you. It's not a thing. I think what they are trying to tell you is that less worry, less insecurity about them because they're attached to you and you don't have to feel insecure. They're 100% on your team and they're always there for you if you need them.
Okay.
And also more confidence in your path and your gifts and the fact that you're moving forward correctly, because I kind of feel like you sort of walk down your path like, I don't know, am I doing this right? Am I screwing this up? And you're not. And so they want you to know, ring, 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 we're checking in and everything's okay. So you're all good and don't worry about a thing. Does that make sense?
It does, because I'm definitely one of those that worries, and I'm like, okay, am I supposed to be helping somebody if I don't have something going on? It feels like I'm doing something wrong, that I must be missing something. And then whenever I hear the ringing, I'm like, okay, I really must be missing something. What am I missing? So
right. I mean, remember this analogy that when you're in spiritual service, which everyone on the earth is, right? It's kind of like, I always think about like fire people, right? Like fire people work like a 3 to 5 day shift. But most of that shift is hanging out in the station with the other fire people. You know, they make each other spaghetti and they wash the truck and they pet the Dalmatian. And then every once in a while, ring, 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 it's a fire. And then you have to go into service. So I think when we start becoming people of service, we get this misnomer that means we have to be in service 24/7. But nobody could be in service 24/7 because it's just exhausting. So you just wait for the service and then you know when it's time to go help the person. You know when it's time to connect to your universal team to get a message, but it doesn't have to be all the time and you're not supposed to be stressing yourself out. And that's the big message from them, is just don't stress yourself out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, don't be the hyperactive mom.
You're doing great. You're a delight. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too, sweetheart. You
Bye,
went
darling.
first, and that's always hard. Thanks for going first today. Thank
No
you.
problem.
And what I was talking to Jen about is for all of you, know that your guides are always there and they're not going anywhere, right? It's all good. They're just there if you need them. They're the goalie, you know, like in a game, the goalie just does this a lot and then when the ball comes or the puck comes, then it's the time for the goalie to go into action. Great question. Great way to start the show. Who wants a message from Spirit? Because I'm doing them all hour. Hi.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm from Marysville, Ohio.
Oh,
My
hi.
question is, I get visited in my dreams a lot and I see all the things like in my peripheral. They're not always easy to decipher, and I don't always remember my dreams until something happens during the day that kind of takes me back.
Sure.
Are these things going to get easier for me to understand and clearer to me?
Yes. Yes, and I think that I guess this is going to be a theme for this show. Don't stress yourself out. Kelly, don't stress yourself out. You're not supposed to remember everything from your dreams. If it helps, keep a dream journal, and when you wake up in the morning to go to the bathroom or drink some water, write a couple of things down, but don't stress yourself out because you're not supposed to remember everything. In time, you will remember more, but the things that you're supposed to remember, Spirit will imprint into your brain and you will remember those things. The things that you see in your periphery, that's when you're asleep or when you're awake?
When I'm awake.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. That is, you're seeing spirits. And there's a reason why we see them out of the corner of our eyes, because we, as human beings on the planet, we're kind of special toddlers, and we're not really evolved enough at this point to be able to handle spirits walking up to us like, hey, how you doing? I mean, even as a medium, like, it's hard. I mean, it's weird. You know, I tap into people all the time in sessions with clients, but when somebody is like right in my face, a spirit, I'm like, oh. So right now that they're there in the peripheries because they think that's what we can handle. But do know that you're definitely seeing them and that they definitely are paying attention to you. And also know that a lot of times those tall black shadow figure-y people that we see in our periphery, they're an interdimensional, which means they're from another dimension. They're not necessarily people that died and are now quote unquote ghosts. And they're watching you because they watch people with gifts. They want to know what's going on with your gifts, how your gifts are going to develop, what's up with you.
I want to know too.
Fascinated by gifted people because they want to see how we as humans are going to evolve to the point that they have, where we can do all the fancy tricks and you know, bells and whistles with our brains that they can. So oftentimes when they find a gifted person, like, you know, lore like Hatman and the Hag and all these kids that have things watch them in their bedrooms at night, it's because usually those kids are gifted and they want to know what's going to happen to this gifted child when this child grows up. So all perfectly normal, and just take what you can take from the dreams. I think because you're a person who, you like answers, Kelly, and you like to know, get a journal and keep it by your bed. And even if you can only remember 2 or 3 things, you can go through that later in the day and think, what did that mean? And how does that apply to my life? And how did it make me feel? Because sometimes dreams send you emotions as well as sending you information.
Oh, I have woke up in just a hurl of emotions. Like,
Yeah.
I lived through something and I know that something occurred in my dream only because I know there's no reason for me to feel that way when I wake up.
Yes. So true. Yeah, you're in good shape, sweetie, and you're doing great. Just keep growing your gifts and don't work so hard at like pushing to grow them. Just stay in a place where you're learning and growing, and Spirit will drop them down into the top of your head and you'll just have them. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for the great question.
Yep. Bye.
And that's a thing, folks. We don't necessarily have to go out and get our gifts and grow our gifts. We just have to get ready for them, and then Spirit will give them to us, and they'll deliver them to us. Does that make sense? If you want to be a guest on this show, or you want to contact me about anything, private session, question, get to know me better, I'm at 818-437-0886. That's 818-437-0886. And I always encourage you to visit my website, which is sheenametalspiritual.com. Please visit me there, because there's a lot of information about me that you can learn. You can get to know me better for a future show. And I'm everywhere on social media, just at Sheena Metal. Okay, I'm ready for a message from Spirit. Who's got one for me? Hi.
Hi.
How are you? I said that differently. I guess Spirit's got a message for me. You've got a question for me for Spirit. So who are you, and where are you from, and what's your question for me?
Oops, sorry. My name is Caitlin, and I'm from Modesto, California.
Beautiful. And what's your question?
My question is, basically, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing with my life right now? Because I feel kind of lost a little bit. I don't know where I should energy.
Right. You're definitely a person of service, and you definitely need to be helping people. And that can be the medical profession, the wellness world, education, the psychological world, the spiritual world. But you need to be really hands-on helping people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing now?
No. I don't think so.
What are you doing now?
I would love to.
What are you doing? What do you do now, work-wise?
I'm actually on disability right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. But did you ever have a job where you help people?
No.
Oh, then that's what's coming, sweetie. It's time.
Really?
It's time. The Spirit is showing it to me like it's already done. And it could be anything. It could be massage therapist. It could be working at a holistic store where you help people with supplements and vitamins. It could be being a receptionist in a doctor's office. It could be working with kids with special needs. I mean, it could be any of those things, right? It just needs to be you touching people who need help one-on-one.
I love that. I would love to do that.
And you never underestimate, I'm a person in my life. I've had a lot of health problems. I've had a lot of surgeries when I was younger. And sometimes just the kindness of the receptionist in the doctor's office, or the office manager, or the nurse, or the tech when you go to get the CAT scan, makes all the difference when you're a person who's feeling like you're in crisis. And you have such a gentle spirit, and there's such a gentle energy to you, that's really what you need to be doing, sweetheart. You need to be helping people. You need to be taking all that sweetness that's inside of you and letting it outside of you to help other people. It's like when you crack open a coconut and all the milk comes out, and you're like, this thing was so funky looking on the outside, but it's so beautiful. And I'm so glad to have this milk. And that's kind of you. You need to let people see the inside of you more, sweetie.
That's hard for me, I think, because of the way I was raised and different trauma I have.
I know. So much of our life is unpacking all of that stuff that was put on us by people. So much of our life is it all builds up, right? We're born perfect, then human beings pack it on us, and then we spend the second half of our lives pulling it all off of us. But it can be done. And there's such a beauty in you. Start unraveling all that gunk and letting that beauty come out, sweetie. And then you'll know right where to go. And it's waiting for you, this wonderful, wonderful thing to do with your life, okay?
Thank you so much.
I'm sending you so much love, sweetheart. I can't wait till you find you and bring it out.
Thank you. Me too.
Take care, honey. And you know what I said to Caitlin, that's for everybody, right? We all need to do that. We've all had the humans pack the stuff on us, and we need to find a way to unpack it and come back to who we truly are. I'm living in my childhood home again, and I never thought that I would live here, but I fell in love with it and decided to stay. And so much unpacking is being done that I feel a lot like I felt when I was 15. And I have to think, wow, like I let a lot of people put a lot of stuff on me. And I didn't need to do that. And I didn't deserve that. But especially when you're an empathic person, you take all this stuff in that people put on you. And you need to find a way to let that go, because it doesn't belong there. So good question. Great people so far. All right. Who wants a message from Spirit? Let's do it. Hi.
Hi, my beautiful friend.
How are you? Who are you and where are you coming in from?
Sarah. And right now I'm actually at my mom's house in Crete, Illinois. And I'm born and raised in Chicago, but I live in Tennessee now.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. What's your question for me?
Well, it's about my dad.
Okay. Okay.
If you remember, he passed September of last year, 2022.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He and I were so connected when he was alive. He's taught me everything about sports. He was like my person. He was my dad. And now that he's gone, I don't feel connected. And it's weird because like when my grandma and grandpa passed, I always still felt connected to them, whether it be through smells or having dreams about them. But with him, it's like he's just gone. And it's just so weird because of how connected I was to him in life that
Right.
I'm not getting something from him somehow. And the only thing that I had was, you probably remember this on your live show, where he told me that he was going to be here till the Bears won the halftime show, and that didn't make any sense to me. But that's the only thing that I've heard from him. And like, where is he? Why is he not? I'm trying to be centered here.
Well, he's here, honey. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's around. But two things. One is he's just kind of like the training wheels are off and he's hovering around to make sure you don't fall over on the bike. He doesn't feel like he needs to be there all the time. You have to find your way, but he's always there providing the hug on the edges, he certainly hasn't gone anywhere. The other thing is when you're really looking for someone, sometimes it's that thing I talked about earlier about trying to grab something.
So I'm looking too hard.
Getting in that Zen place and just letting it drop down. You're almost looking so hard for him, you can't find him.
Yeah.
Have you ever lost something and you're looking for it and you're looking for it? Today I lost the pepper. I was making eggs and I lost the pepper. And I was, where's the pepper? And I'm in the cabinet and I'm on the table. And then I realized it was sitting right there on the counter. I probably walked by it 3 times.
When you stop looking for it is when you find
and there was nothing else on the counter but the pepper. And it's sitting right there. And I just walked back, where's that pepper? That's what we do sometimes with our past loved ones. We're trying to find a human way to find them, instead of just staying in that place of spiritual connectedness and allowing them to come to us.
Okay.
And that's what he really wants you to know. You need to let him come to you. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I want so desperately to feel him still. And my mom and I are still having a hard time accepting the fact that he's gone, because it happened so out of the blue and so quickly that, we're still trying to deal with that. So I'm just looking for anything. Sorry, it's storming here, so it's really loud.
Nice.
just looking, looking for that connection somehow, because I'm not ready for him to be gone.
I know.
So
I know. And that's another thing. You're non-acceptance. So your soul tie with him. A human soul tie is from solar plexus chakra to solar plexus chakra.
yes.
When somebody passes, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So you really need to allow him to cut that tie, that soul tie, the human tie.
I
and
feel it
allow
there
him,
every day.
Right.
Every day in there.
Let him come and cut it. Give him permission, and then he will reattach it through down through your crown chakra, through your third eye chakra, and into your heart. And that's where you have a connection with someone who's passed.
Interesting.
And then you will feel him more. So let him do that, okay? Try
Yes,
that. Think about
I
that,
will.
because he wants to. He's saying he wants to.
That
All
makes
right?
a lot of sense, because every day my solar plexus, I mean, it feels like I got punched.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yes. You got to release that, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank
You're
you.
in good shape, my friend. I'm here when you need me. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, and that's something really important. You have to not try to have a human connection with someone who's passed. And also for empaths, solar plexus chakra, it's where things really hit you, because it's where all your soul ties are. And your gut, spirit gives you messages. You call it your gut feeling, right? That's spirit saying it's not your gut, it's actually us. Yeah. If you want to be a guest on the show, or you want to contact me, I'm at 818-437-0886. That's 818-437-0886 to contact me. And I'm everywhere on social media, just at Sheena Metal, the little @ sign, and then Sheena Metal. So make sure to contact me on social media at Sheena Metal. Okay, so I'm ready for another message from Spirit. They're going so fast today. I can't believe we're flying.
Hi, Sheena. How are you?
Honey? Tell me who you are and where you're coming from.
My name is Debbie. I'm calling from Pine Plains, New York.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What's your question for me today, honey?
My sister passed away about a year ago, and it was very sudden, and it was very, very unexpected. And we were so close. We were like best friends for 65 years. And I just can't seem to accept it. I know I have to go through the different stages, but I can't get past the first stage, which is just, just the shock of it all. And I feel like she's around me, but I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
You two were definitely soulmates. Your soul tie was very strong, and you have had many lives together. Losing a soulmate, and we have a handful of them every lifetime, is one of the hardest things. And you want to contact her so badly, and want her, even more importantly, to contact you so badly. But the problem is your grief is still so visceral, sweetie. There's so much grief inside of you, and the grief is providing like a barrier, like a blanket. And it's hard for anything to get through it, So I would like you to do an exercise for me where, when you're in a quiet place, like at night or in the morning, just visualize dropping the grief blanket. Like if you were holding a blanket up in front of you and you just went boop and let it go. Because she can't get through that blanket of grief that you've put around you to visit you. And she really wants to visit you, but she can't get through the grief. So you're going to have to and I know it's hard. You don't want to let it down because you don't want to hurt. So you've put the protection up so that you don't hurt. But it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, right? You put the protection up so you don't hurt, but then she doesn't contact you, so you hurt. So you just need to release some of the grief and make room for her to come in and visit. because she really does. And she wants you to know she's always there. She's never far away. She says she's like your shadow. She follows you around, but you need to allow her in, you know, and I know how much you want to do that, but sometimes we put a block up we don't even realize we've put up because we want something so bad. Does that make sense, Debbie?
Yeah. So how do I do that exactly?
Just visualize, get to a quiet place, and imagine you've got a blanket around you and you're just dropping it. You're letting it come down. And if you start to feel a little panic, a little hurt, that's okay, because that blanket has protected you from the feelings of the grief. But it will be better when you let it go. You have to do it in the beginning when somebody dies because you need to protect yourself or you'll go crazy. But eventually you have to drop it, especially if you want to have communication with your loved ones that have passed, you know?
Okay.
Okay?
All
I'm
right.
sending you
Thank
so
you.
much love. You can do this, babe. It's all good.
Okay. All right.
Take
Thank you.
care, sweetheart. You're
All
the
right. You
best.
too. All right.
And this is something that happens with all of us with grief. It's happened to me. It's how grief is. So just have faith that when you let go, it will actually be better afterwards. It's like pulling out a splinter, right? You know it's going to hurt, but as soon as the splinter's out, it's going to feel better. And sometimes grief is like that. And that's how it is. If you want to learn more about me, you can visit my website, sheenametalspiritual.com. I would love that. And more than anything, I would love another message from Spirit right now. Hi, who are you and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Lisa and I'm from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
Beautiful, my friend. And what's your question for me today?
Tomorrow is going to be a year that our son passed.
Oh, sweetie, I'm
And,
so sorry.
and there's lots of stuff that's been weird things happening in the house. Is that
Okay.
him doing it? Or
Yes.
someone else?
Yeah, him trying to let you know that he's there.
Very
much trying to let you know that he's there.
Okay, because like I keep a tree up all year long now since he died, and
Nice.
Easter time, one of the eggs that I had in the tree flew right out of the tree into the middle of the living room.
Yeah.
Was that him?
Yeah.
He did it?
Yeah.
What
He
other?
wants you to know that he's there.
Yeah.
Again, like the last caller, like Debbie, you're having a little problem letting your grief blanket down.
Yeah,
and so
a lot.
do you talk to him? Because he would love for you to talk to him.
Yeah,
Lisa,
I talk with him, yeah. I talk to everybody, all of my family that's died. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, and the trial is going to start pretty soon for his death. The guy's getting charged.
Good. Good.
Is that going to all go?
Yes.
Good? Yeah.
Yes. That's going to have a good outcome. But that's
Okay.
also hard for him. So he wants more than anything to contact you right now because he knows how difficult it is and everything that you're going through.
Yeah.
So it's so important that you let that grief blanket down and start having conversations with him. And then he won't have to throw your Easter eggs around.
And yeah, well, like when I try and text somebody and talk to them about Adam, I have a hard time texting. It won't let me text. Is that
Sure. Yeah.
That's him messing with it?
Trying to get your attention. Yes.
Yeah, because it gets really hard that the messages won't go through, and I think he's stopping me from talking to people about him or.
Yeah, and just that he doesn't want you to obsess about the trial.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, it's real hard to do. We've been waiting so long for it to come through. Finally, this guy got a lawyer now, so it can start.
Good. Think of it as a good thing. Okay?
Okay.
I'm sending you so much love, sweetheart. It's going to be okay.
Thank you.
Talk to him more, all right? He'll love that.
Okay, thanks, Sheena.
You
I
betcha.
love you you do so much good. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sweetie. I love you too. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye, honey. Do we still call it a call in when it's on video? Thank you for videoing in. Thank you for appearing with an image. I don't know what to call it. Anyway, yeah, grief is hard. It's hard, and especially when it's a murder and there's a trial coming and you're holding so many emotions around that. Our loved ones feel that too that have passed, and it makes them sad, and they try to help. And if you're not listening to their messages, they'll toss an Easter egg, or whatever they have to do to get your attention. And they don't want, he doesn't want Lisa to be so stressed out about the trial, even though he knows how hard that is, you know. Those great, super great questions today, and I'm ready for another one. Who wants a message from Spirit?
Hi, Sheena. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm good. My name is Jennifer. I'm from Urbana, Illinois.
Hi.
I shared a story with you actually a few weeks back.
Okay.
I learned that I was a sensitive. And it was not a good way on how I learned that.
Okay.
I also started learning that I was also sort of an empath.
Okay.
I'm still learning on who I am.
Okay.
If I have any other gifts, how can I control it? How I'm not sure. I'm kind of lost.
Sure. Okay, so the first thing is, sweetie, you are a reluctant empath. Part of you doesn't really understand what your empathic abilities are.
Mm-hmm.
And part of you kind of fears what your empathic abilities are.
Yeah.
And part of you kind of wishes your empathic abilities would just go away.
Yeah. I think that has a lot to deal with. I lost my son back in 2009.
I'm so sorry. And it's right. So when you are grieving, we've had a lot of grieving on today's show, right?
Uh-huh.
When you are grieving, you blanket yourself from the pain. You put the grief blanket around you, as I've been talking about this show. Part, Jen, of putting the grief blanket around you is it also blocks out your gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain things that block out your gifts, right? Trauma, drugs and alcohol. I mean, I know people that purposely, do different kinds of drugs or drink because they don't want their gifts. It's not the healthiest thing to do, but it does stop your gifts from coming in. Grief is another kind of blanket. So grief blankets your gifts. And so while you're grieving, you're not feeling everything that you should be feeling empathically. And with most people's spiritual gifts that are empaths, and not all gifted spiritual people are empaths, it's really about getting your empathy under control first. Because when you start to open up and ask Spirit to bring you your gifts, it is such a flood of information and energy and input. It can be extremely overwhelming as an empath if you don't have your empathy under control. And so I think I'm sorry?
I said absolutely.
So I think the most important thing for you is to get your empathy under control and start to bring the grief blanket down a little bit and start to feel all the feels.
Yeah.
And as you feel all the feels, get used to them and find ways to, I teach an empath workshop called Why Do I Feel Everything? Because we all feel everything, right? I mean, that's what we do. as empaths, and it teaches you how to put up screens and filters so not every single thing is coming in. Because I always say that a regular person has a energetic input channel. It's like a straw, and for empaths, it's like a drain pipe. So there's so much coming in, and it's too much. So we block it out. You just need to begin to allow it to come in, and first filter out what you don't need before it gets to you. That's the filter and the screen. And then learn to let it go. You know the expression, in one ear and out the other. I kind of feel that way with my gifts, because my gifts kind of come in my right ear, and then what I don't need, I flush out my left ear.
Yeah.
Because you don't need everything, every little thing that comes in. Just like if you watch a television show, you're not expected to remember every scene and every word that everybody said in every episode forever and ever and ever. You're just not supposed to do that. It's the same thing. Every experience that you have, right? You don't need to have to remember every one of those experiences. Every bit of energy that comes in, you don't need to keep inside of you, or you're going to swell up like a giant boil and explode. So you need to learn how to let things come in, and then how to let things go. And when you feel like you really have that under control, then Jen, that is the time that you start to open up spiritually and allow your other gifts to come, because you definitely have gifts.
Okay.
And but the first step is to let the grief go.
Okay.
And look, grief never leaves, and I'm not ever here to tell anybody it's time to stop grieving. People that say that, I think, are awful people. It's never really time to stop grieving. You always grieve people that have passed that you love. But you have to let the blanket of grief go, that protective cover that you put on yourself so you wouldn't feel anything. And be surprised, don't be surprised that when you drop it, all this information is going to come in, because it's like all these energetic messages have just been waiting on the outside to come.
Right.
And then learn to filter, because you do, right? You feel everybody's everything, Jen.
Yes.
And it's exhausting.
It is.
And it's it hurts.
Yes.
And you want to learn how to get that under control, because what you want is you want this thing right now, this empathy that you think is maybe the worst thing in the world because it's making you hurt and feel confused and it's too much, and turn it into knowing that it's the best thing about you. Because when you get your empathic abilities under control, you realize it's hands down the coolest thing about you. And it's the most wonderful thing that you will love the most about your life. And even if you become a medium and a predictive psychic and a clairvoyant and clairsentient and clairaudient and all the clairs, still it's your empathy that you will treasure, because being able to feel the heartbeat of the earth is the most beautiful thing in the world. And you will learn to really cherish that. You've just got to do it in the baby steps. I think when we get on our spiritual path, I mean, I have clients that are spiritual newbies, right? And they will say, like, I just want to master it all in 6 months. Well, okay.
It doesn't work like that.
It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be baby steps. It's like building a house, right? You don't build a house without a foundation. And if you don't get your empathic abilities under control, you're building a house with no foundation. So you need to build that beautiful foundation first, and know that that will always take care of you. That will always hold up your house of spiritual gifts. And then just start exploring and figuring out, what do I like? What do I want to do? What do I enjoy doing spiritually? Because you're doing a very good job of being on your path. You've done a lot of spiritual work on yourself, and Spirit is very happy and very proud. But I think the next step to getting more in touch with your gifts is to let the grief blanket down. And then if you cry a lot for a couple months, or you just feel sad or tired, give yourself a break. You're allowed to feel that way when you are doing grief work.
I kind of feel tired now.
Yeah. I just talked to you for 5 minutes and I'm exhausted, Sheena. Yeah, because I'm moving a lot of stuff around inside of you right now. So it's normal to feel tired. But you got this, sweetie. I have every confidence in you, and you got this, and everything's going to be great. All right? Just trust and believe, and I'm here when you need me.
I thank you so much.
Take care, sweetheart. Lovely to talk to you.
You too.
Lovely to talk to you. And I'm here when you all need me. Send me a text message, 818-437-0886. That's 818-437-0886. If you want to be a guest on the show, or you want to maybe book a private session with me or find out about how that works, or an energetic cleanse. I also have workshops available to help you through the steps of getting more on your spiritual path and healing the things inside of you. And I have spiritual aids that help, crystals and sage and Palo Santo, all that stuff. You can find that if you go to my website, which is sheenametalspiritual.com. Mostly it's important to stay in touch with me through my phone number, because I want you to know that if you're ever feeling like you're falling apart and you just can't cope and no one understands, you send me a text message, because I'm here and I'm here for you, and I do understand, and I'm here to love you, and I will help you as much as I can, because that's my service on the earth, is to help other people. And I think we learned a lot today. We learned a lot about grief. We learned a lot about controlling your empathy and growing your spiritual gifts. And we learned a lot about finding your place in the world, finding out what's your passion and what's your service and where you belong. And that is super important. And I think we learned a lot about how spirit is always here for you. Source, higher power, God, goddess, great spirit, universe, whatever you want to call spirit. They always say, I don't care what you call me, just call me. And we learned about how you're always loved, and spirit and your spirit guides and your past loved ones and your angelics, they're always here. You're not in this world alone. You are here protected by a team of wonderful energies and beings that take care of you and cradle your soul in a ball of light. And that's such an important thing, I think, that a lot of folks don't know. And I always want you to know that. That's very important for me, that you all know that. We're here every Wednesday at 2:00 Pacific time, only on the Intuitive Network, and so honored to be here. As always, I want to thank Michael, who owns and runs the Intuitive Network, my producer, Adam, and my engineer, Emery. My three wonderful guys, my three musketeers that I couldn't do this without. Every week, I need to let you know how important they all are. Of course, please visit my website. It's sheenametalspiritual.com. Please visit that, sheenametalspiritual.com. And I'm all over social media, just @Sheena Metal. Please go find me there and like all my pages. It's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm always doing fun things there. And you can find me here every week. And until I see you here next week on the Intuitive Network, seek peace, live in love, lead with kindness, embrace unity, and always work to raise your vibration, which will in turn raise the vibrations of others around you, which will in turn help to raise the vibration of the earth, which will in turn help to raise the vibration of the universe. But most importantly, and you always need to know this, and I will always tell you this, please know that you are love. and you are loved, and you're especially loved by me. Thank you for watching. I'm Sheena Metal. This is Messages from Spirit on the Intuitive Network, and I'll see you next week. Keep walking your spiritual path. You're doing good.